Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Legacy of the Rimlen. Last time, let's say not a lot happened, but I think things might be a bit different this time. But before we get into that, as usual, let's have our players introduce themselves and their characters. Dice say that we're going alphabetical, which I think might have been the order from last time as well, but anyway, that would mean that I will kindly ask Dely, first and foremost, to introduce themselves, their character. Dely, you're on stage, you're on deck. What's up with you? How are you doing? How was your day?
Yeah, I'm fab, thank you. My day was good. And also, hello everyone. So yeah, I'm Dely. I play Muninn, the Traveling Scholar, Oracle of Cassius, and the Unwise. As inMuninn's Unwise, not Cassius.
Oh, okay.
Depending on who you ask. But anyway, Muninn was last session reading to Milo's character, Miroslav, in a bid to help them teach them how to read. Let's go with that. That's definitely what's happening.
Well, you're correct. That said, I posed the question last time. There's lots and lots of different alphabets. So sure, maybe you'll teach Milo to read, but what will you teach? Not Milo, Miroslav to read. But what will you teach him that will potentially be useful?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that potentially. Anyway, thank you very, very much, Dely. Then we would have Milo. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your character?
Yeah. I'm Milo. I'm playing Miroslav, the former slave who is Lady Ophelia's carriage driver. And yeah, last session talked a bit more to mostly Muninn, since talking to Anghel is always like
a challenge.
It's a bit of a challenge. With always firstly having to translate. But yeah, he's enjoying having Muninn read to him while he is driving the carriage. So he will probably not be learning much reading during the drive. But yeah.
On the Anghel point, also, I would emphasize the fact that Anghel constantly has fairies flying behind him, so it's perhaps a bit off-putting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing for Miroslav as he hasn't interacted with the supernatural or the mythical at all until like the water witch.
Yeah.
And even Ribaab.
I imagine it's confusing for 90% of people, the whole fairy thing. Anyway, thank you very, very much, Milo. And then, as alluded to, so to say, we would have Show&Tell. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your character?
Yes, hi, I'm Show&Tell, and I'll be playing as Anghel, who is indeed mute, and he wasn't very interactive last time, I guess.
Fair enough. Sure, lots of stuff to look forward to this session, but thank you very, very much, Show&Tell. So, last time, after having beaten the water witch, you guys rescued the struggling, let's say, Hakim from the water, and let's just say the Lady Ophelia rescued herself, and Muninn said some vague, "I know what you're doing," threats to her, so to say. But while that was happening, after that happened, Lady Ophelia went to go change. Hakim went to guard her, and we had some time for our free players to just sit down and talk and get to know each other a little better. Don't ask me about the specifics necessarily. I misremembered to watch last week's episode in preparation for this one, to be honest. Well, not necessarily misremembered, just didn't really have the time. But anyway, other than that, after talks were had and thoughts were shared and all of that good stuff, you guys went back on the road. Above board, we made a decision to not postpone, but to set aside the whole wailing infant side story, just for above board reasons, because it would be kind of off-putting to abandon Miroslav for a couple hours to deal with that and then get back to him. But I did promise you a resolution to that. There will be a resolution to that. Do not worry. But before we get into that, to sort of wrap up the recap, you guys continued on the road. There weren't really any major incidents on the road other than more chatting. Miroslav invited Muninn to sit with them on the carriage, and since they're the carriage driver. For reference, once again, Hakim, Ophelia, and the other person are inside, and they sort of isolated from the rest of you. And Anghel.
Wait,
Show&Tell
what
was
other person? What other person?
This fellow where I'm pinging on the map. Do you see where I'm pinging on the map? Well,
yeah, I see where you're pinging, but I don't know who it is, because the other bodyguard isn't here.
Correct.
That one's at the village.
I thought I mentioned this to you, Milo, but yes, there's another person traveling in the carriage. Let's just say that it's someone that Anghel and Muninn know, but it's someone that they are not allowed to see.
Okay.
It's basically the person who more or less started the whole adventure by saying, "Hey, there's a ruin nearby. Go check it out."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'd probably know that he's inside, but also be like, okay.
Ophelia would also sort of softly forbid you from interacting with this person.
Yeah, I guessed as much. That on Lady Ophelia's order, it would be for me like, okay, this person does not exist.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
And he, as far as you know, you haven't been like 24 hours out of a day, like watching the carriage all the time. But as far as you know, he hasn't left the carriage. Maybe he has when you were like asleep to, take care of his needs. But other than that, you've never seen him leave the carriage.
Yeah, I just realized the funny implication of last week's session on that, since Lady Ophelia changed in the carriage.
Yeah, I will trust me that I was perfectly aware of the implication when that was happening, but was there much alternative?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Anyway, but what I meant to ask was to ask Show&Tell if you remember if Anghel traveled on horse or on foot. I think Anghel traveled on foot.
I think on foot, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, that's more or less where we wrapped up last session, as the party entered like this little section of the map that you all see on screen. So as I go and turn on the background music and all of that, there will be something that happens before you guys progress further on. But before that, is there I would ask everyone what they're up to, what they're doing, if there's anything different compared to what I just described and what we also talked about in the beginning portion.
Anything different?
So?
for me, probably not, and for Muninn, probably not, unless Miroslav were to do something other than like. I feel like Muninn would, because Miroslav is driving the carriage or whatever, or I feel like driving is not the right word, but
I think it is.
it is. Okay.
Because you're driving the horses.
I suppose that's true. Because Miroslav is driving the horses. That's why they call it horsepower, ladies and gentlemen. So Muninn would, rather than like try and distract Miroslav by being like, "Oh, this is what this symbol means," and stuff like that, they would just read to Miroslav, as opposed to being like, "Oh, what do you think this means?" Like, and like showing him,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think that would make more sense than Muninn trying to teach right now.
I believe, Deli, you mentioned last time that what you were showing Miroslav were not the books that you have in your possession, but Muninn's personal notes.
Yes.
And I think you described that you're basically showing Miroslav like, oh, hey, there's this place, and like this city like had this building, and like that. Were you also in this city? Stuff like that?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, right. That was also how we found out that we came from a similar direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Muninn would continue to reminisce with Miroslav, especially because it's like, oh yeah, like I remember this place, and I went into this town and they had a pretty good tavern, but they're stuff like that. Don't trust the gamblers in that tavern and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious what language this conversation would take place in, just for the sake of, can Anghel overhear and understand?
Yeah.
Is Anghel keeping up though? I'm not sure what.
I think we established that he was, right?
Really? On foot? Oh, okay.
I mean,
the carriage is not rushing. I imagine.
we are driving at a pace that you and your gang wouldn't like be left behind.
Oh, okay, okay. I forgot about that. Okay, cool.
I mean, otherwise, it would be very hard for you, or especially for Always Thirsty, to keep up.
Yeah.
Right.
As for the language, I know by Milo's character sheet for Miroslav that he speaks Romy. Am I allowed to? Can I? I feel like I'm metagaming a little bit, but like
Romy. I'm not contradicting you.
Domi.
Domi.
Oh, Domi.
Domi is the language of the slaves that we've established you do not know.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I thought it was Romy.
That's the language of the nobility. Or some of the nobility.
So it's Rima, Toti, Manti, and Domi, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know all of them except Domi.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I feel like Rima and Romy are the first two that come up on my character sheet. Or not my character sheet, on my like...
Rima's the language of the local people, including Anghel. It's the only language that Anghel knows. Romy is the language of some of the local nobles, but it's not really spoken where you and Miroslav come from.
Yeah, also I don't know Romy.
Oh, you don't?
No,
okay.
I know Domi, which is...
the language of the slaves.
Yeah.
I feel like... Is there sorry, I know I feel like I'm like going... I'll ask this question later because maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But
no worries.
I feel like it probably makes sense to speak Romy, because
Rima,
we've been speaking Rima. Sorry, I keep like reading them and my brain is like not taking it in properly. Rima, yeah. And I feel like we've probably been speaking Rima this whole time anyway, right? So
yeah, fair enough. I believe that's partly how you deduced where Miroslav's from by his accent.
Right.
Yeah.
My question was, Romy and Domi, like obviously, like one's of like poor people and one's of nobility. Is it like where, are there some overlapping words and stuff like that?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay. I was gonna
very,
say
very few.
yeah. Because in some real life, obviously, in some real life languages, like
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Your native language, Taiski, is also very, very different.
Yeah.
But all these languages are sort of unfortunately very different. Rima and Domi, the language of the slaves, has some similarities, but not a lot.
Okay. I feel like it would just as like a world building thing as well. I feel like everything in Munin's like journal is written in Taiski.
Your native language, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So I feel like whenever they'd say something from the book, they might say it in Taiski and be like, "Oh, so that means," like occasionally they'll say it how it's written and say like, "Oh, this means this,"
Yeah, and I think Miroslav would probably do the same with like the different languages. He wouldn't. He might actually sometimes use like Doma terms, just because that's what he grew up with.
Yeah.
So like everyday things, he might use terms that you don't understand. Other than that, he would probably sometimes use words from Toti or Manzi language.
This is not like an attitude that you guys need to have, obviously, but stereotypically speaking, the Domi language, the language of the slaves, is seen as like dirty or like beneath me or whatever.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, obviously, you guys don't have to have this sentiment, but I think we established that's part of the reason why Muninn doesn't know it, because there are very, very few people of that ethnicity who are like scholars to converse with.
That makes sense. Yeah. More of a practical thing rather than like a
prejudice thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
Very cool.
So yeah, Anghel would understand most of the things. Sometimes there would be unknown words in there.
I feel like Teeironor, in your head that probably seemed like a really simple question, but like that sort of like became like, that's it. I feel like that became like a really thoughtful question, like, that's like, yeah, what would we be doing?
I guess I should have slightly above board for the viewers in our little Discord server. I made like a little player's guide to guide the players when making and constructing their characters. I think I should have made a section about languages, but whatever. Too late now.
Hey.
You know it for future iterations.
TLDR, 99% of people around you will speak Rima, because that's the local language, and 99% of the people around you are Rima. Some of the nobility are Romi. The empire that's your overlord is Caramel, so that's also a trade language. And then there's the Domi slaves. And all the other languages are like scanned to random people, including like random people like Muninn, for instance.
Yeah.
Just for this local area. Anyway, we've, I think, settled that. So my next question would be, is Anghel interacting in any way with this conversation, or is he just trudging along?
What exactly is Muninn reading? Like,
mostly stuff from their travels. So like, so as Muninn traveled from Brightland to Anghel's sort of hometown or home village or whatever, they generally like just took notes of what they saw. So just in like tales.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to say tales of adventure, but like because it's kind of like I don't want to say scholarly, but there's like literally no other word I can think of. Like it's like it's half interesting and half like what's the word?
Mundane.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like the sort of thing that you would read in its
Like a
I feel like I'm
travel
making
blog.
yeah. Not everything is like, oh, and I killed this dragon, obviously.
Mhm.
Some of it is, oh, and I killed this dragon.
No, not all of it. Oh, I guess recently. I guess recently it is, yeah.
Okay.
But you didn't kill the dragon.
Yeah, it was Anghel. Anghel killed this dragon.
No.
No, we
No,
didn't kill the
no.
dragon.
It just flew away because it didn't find the
Oh,
person
that's
it was
true.
looking for.
That's true. Anghel stared at the dragon and it was so scared that it flew away.
No, Anghel very deliberately looked away because he was terrified.
Oh, God. I can imagine this like page in this particular like there's like Muninn will write a sentence, cross it out, write another sentence, cross that one out.
It was the time you became the Muninn became the Oracle, so it's understandable that there will be, let's say, confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Some of it isn't very interesting though, is what I meant. In the book. Like some of it is. It's like, oh shit, but other stuff is like an encyclopedia almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Anghel is madly interested in the interesting parts, I guess.
Yeah.
And if it starts to be boring, then I guess he just kind of drifts off. Or
Trails
something.
off,
But
yeah.
he doesn't really interact. Like,
I'm curious, would Muninn talk about like any personal stuff that they've written down in their journal, or just the like records of their travels and discoveries, well, quote unquote discoveries?
Yeah. I feel like some of it would probably be I feel like there'd be cliff notes, if you know what I'm saying, that are quite personal. I don't know what specifically off the top of my head, but yeah, stuff like yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I'm pretty sure I did. Stuff like oh, I went into this town, and then there'll be cliff notes saying like, don't gamble there. They're a bunch of cheats.
Okay.
Like stuff like that.
That's kind of tame for what I had in mind as personal, but sure, fair enough.
Okay.
When I meant personal, I meant like
Private.
say some other characters from your backstory that we may have mentioned, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. I feel like that would be included too.
Interesting.
Like yeah, this is like a stream of like Munin's thoughts where like most of it is attempted, like they attempt to keep
and they
it.
read it unfiltered, or do they?
I feel like they might filter it. I don't know. It depends how Acacius would.
Acacius doesn't care if you
Doesn't
spill
care.
as long as you don't embarrass him.
Yeah.
Or I think he would softly try to forbid you from embarrassing yourself so that you don't embarrass him by association. But otherwise, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So somewhat filtered down. Like they would mention about how like some bars in some towns are shit, but they wouldn't mention how they were like, well, I can't say, but just other personal, like really personal shit.
I'm curious how Munin's record of like the monastery events look, specifically the part where, you know, they trailed an entire village, let's say colored the trail brown.
I feel like that was omitted.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, as you guys continue on the road, I think just because I want to sort of make the resolution kind of obvious to everyone, quote unquote. Yeah. Muninn, you'll sort of be stopped mid-sentence out from whatever you were describing from your travels by the voice of Akesius. So obviously Miroslav and Anghel, if he's paying attention, will notice Munin's eyes start glowing white as Akesius tells him, "You'll be happy to hear, child, that the screaming infant situation has been dealt with."
Muninn would, I feel like, physically sigh in relief and say, I would thank the gods, but thank you, Akesius, in a really cheesy kind of way.
Oh, no, it was my effort, but it was also your intervention, certainly. The village priest above board, if you remember the father of the child, organized this grand, pompous ceremony, basically to try to absolve himself of guilt. Sort of worked, sort of didn't work. Regardless, he made this whole ceremony and whole hullabaloo of dragging out the mother and apologizing to the infant together. The matter is settled, and then, well, this is slightly amusing. He tried to preach, he held a sermon about how he was perfectly within his rights as the ancient priests did to take multiple wives.
How can we?
That the villagers were not necessarily convinced of that, but, well, what other option is there? Perhaps when you return, if you return, you may fill this void, so to say. Not take his place as priest, but rather show them the proper way to worship, if you understand my meaning.
I do. I do understand. Thank you for telling us. Thank you for letting me know what happened. I feel somewhat guilty leaving the situation, but I felt we at least left it in
Other
a good
matters
state.
required your attention, child. Be sure to tell the others, but do emphasize how it was our doing.
I will. Thank you again.
Good. Munin's eyes stop glowing.
Yeah. When Muninn stopped talking, Miroslav would have glanced over and seen that his eyes are their eyes are glowing.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, okay, I guess they're talking to their god right now, and just look back to the road.
Anghel asks what happened.
Muninn would shake their head in a way to when you're you space out for a little bit and then you come to, you're ugh, you shake your head.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say to both Miroslav and Anghel, I've been informed that the situation with the screaming sorry, not screaming child. I've been informed with the situation with the child has been dealt with. So the priest and his lover have well, the child isn't suffering anymore.
Oh, okay.
Miroslav would be looking at you a bit confused, as he doesn't really know what went on.
Yeah.
But he's like, okay, I'm glad the infant isn't in pain anymore.
I feel like Muninn might they say I'm just to clarify, I don't mean that it's been put out of its misery, so to speak. And
Kind of though, no?
Sort of, in a way.
Given peace would be the correct term. Munin's eyes glow white.
Okay.
Okay. Muninn would say more given peace. Typically, in this situation, the two parents would apologize to the child, and its soul will be sort of set free. I assume above board.
Yep, above board, yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. For once, we left the situation better off than when we had arrived.
I'll put you in for once.
Well, sometimes we don't always do the best for what's good of the people, but I mean, this time we did. So, good for us, I suppose. And
Good job. I
Remember
guess.
to emphasize that it was our doing, like Munin's eyes glow white.
yeah,
Our implying you, Muninn, and Cassius.
okay. I feel like Muninn would hesitate, but they would say, I would like to think that Cassius and I were definitely a big help in that scenario. Like trying to say what like Cassius wants Muninn to say, but not in a way that is like kind of rude.
You are the oracle of Cassius, child. Stand proud. Munin's eyes glow white.
Yeah.
And I think, like, say if you were slouching slightly, I think you would, like, jolt upright a little.
Okay.
Miroslav would be like, your god seems very chatty today.
That he does. I feel like as time passes, I become more in tune with him, and he's more like he assists us more as I prove myself to him.
We shouldn't rely on him so much.
Moon would say, but you must admit, Anghel, that his assistance has been invaluable. His divine intervention has been I don't want to say divine because I just said that. But you know, his help is divine.
I don't know if Anghel has anything to say to that. Maybe he just turns his head.
I feel like Muninn would typically console Anghel in some way, but in this instance, they would say, think what you want, but his intervention was think what you want, but his intervention was the sole reason this child has been laid to rest now. Like all the all of the knowledge that I was fed is the whole reason why these two people have admitted what they had done. And now the village, once again, like I said, the village is now better off having met us, which says more, says more about what happens usually.
I'm sure we could have. Anghel doesn't reply to the last part. He's just, I'm sure we could have found it out by ourselves.
Cassius would say, like, sort of like chime in, well, maybe the two admitted wouldn't necessarily be the right term. You did drag the information out of the father, and, well, the mother was dragged in front of the village and humiliated, but it is what it is. You don't have to tell the others that.
No, that's fair enough. I feel like Muninn would leave that out. But Muninn would say, yeah, we probably could have gotten it out of them eventually. But then, actually, that's a good point. Muninn would say we could have gotten out of them eventually. I'm sure, but then all the time we spent trying to get information out of them, Nikephoros would be getting further and further away from us. Not to mention, I mean, we need to see the. Not to mention, we'd see the prince much later than. You know, we'd leave to travel to see the prince much later than we had done.
Also, you wouldn't have been there to help the lady, as I'm guessing that your work with the child has been where I went to get you as well, or close to there, I'm assuming. Since that is where
Geographically,
the
yeah.
crying came from. I'm guessing that I heard it as well.
Oh, you
since
definitely
was
did.
so long.
It was very unsettling.
Yeah. So Miroslav would kind of note to that as well. Like, yeah, if you had taken any longer, maybe Lady Ophelia and
Hakim.
Hakim wouldn't have been saved.
Yeah.
As yeah.
Muninn would agree because they didn't think of that, and they would say like, "Yeah, exactly. See, Acacius isn't so bad after all."
He's not so good either.
Well, think what you will, but of course I'm inclined to side with my. Is my lord like the right thing to say?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah. Think what you will, but I'm inclined to side with my lord. He's been a great help since I have met him, at least.
Blink twice if someone's holding a gun to your head.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's all he was.
Is that what Anghel says?
Mm-hmm.
In what way? Sorry, excuse me. What do you mean by that?
You tell me.
Well, I suppose we can agree to disagree, but I feel like you'd see it my way soon, Anghel.
Okay. I'm sorry, that wasn't Anghel.
Did you say I'm sorry that wasn't Anghel?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
My reaction.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anghel looks away again.
I feel like Muninn would wait, like look at Anghel for a minute, and then they would clear their throat and they'd sort of scribble back there, or sort of they would scroll back up to the sort of like the top of the sentence, whatever they were reading at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would carry on as long as like nothing interrupts them, or
Just
nothing or no one.
your eyes once again will briefly glow white as Acacius says, "Do remember that you are my oracle and you should carry yourself with more pride. Do not be so humble in the future."
Okay, Muninn would mentally agree and like nod, as it were. You know, I will do my best.
Of course you will. So, do let me know if you guys carry on on your journey and we sort of move to sort of the next scene, so to say, or if there is anything else.
I think we can move on.
I think we can too.
As you approach the next set of towns over, I'll like briefly click and drag you guys. You see that unlike many of the towns that you have visited, well, villages rather, that you have, towns and villages that you have visited so far, this collection seems to be fairly active, probably indicating that it was not as affected or affected at all by the plague as the other villages that you guys have gone through. And
Interesting.
when you approach the first bridge, which would lead to the town of Horsemen's, you, I think, will see a plump-looking woman approaching you. She seems like very grouchy, so to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Approaching the carriage, and she like holds up her hand as if to say like stop.
Muninn would look to Miroslav, and say like, "Oh, can't you see her?" Like, oh no. Oh.
Does she look like someone?
She does not look like a noble woman. She just looks like a local, like, townsperson. Like she's not dressed poorly, but she's not dressed fancy, if that makes sense. She has this expression of like, fucking finally, like, sort of tired and exasperated as she's approaching your group.
I think Miroslav would stop the carriage.
If you're wondering if it's unusual, yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, he would stop and ask what her business is like.
Are you well, there's the smell's about right, looks at Muninn. Yeah, I was told to wait for you by Abdul.
Abdul?
You do not recognize the name. Yeah, you know the guy with the dark skin.
Oh.
Okay. Now.
Yeah.
She clearly has the name wrong.
Yeah. I just have to scroll up because I as well do not remember names.
It is the wrong name, so don't
yeah.
worry.
I know that it is the wrong name, but I can't remember the
Ribaab.
whole of the Ribaab.
I see.
Yeah. I remembered that there was some letter was double.
Hmm?
And
yeah.
Miroslav would not say the name, but he would like more closely describe Ribaab.
You're describing Ribaab to her?
Yes.
She would interrupt you and say, yeah, that person. Like, she interrupts you before you even finish your first sentence. The guy with the dark skin, she clearly doesn't care about details. Oh, come on, this way. Paid for your lodgings, come on.
And with the lodgings, I would be like, okay, and
he
follows.
was supposed to come and get you if he was finished in time. Oh yeah, he told me that if I'm the one meeting you and not him, he's dead or something.
What?
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 Come on, come along.
You can't be
What are we
serious.
to break the news, woman? I'm gonna say that, by the way.
How? Muninn will ask. How are we supposed to believe you? That's ridiculous.
She like flashes a sack of coins, and says, "Well, I got paid, didn't I? Come on. You want your rooms or not?"
Muninn would look to sorry, not Ribaab. Muninn would look to Anghel and say, like, what? Like, this can't be right.
That's crazy. What happened? Anghel signs.
Why would Ribaab be... I don't know if that is just me misunderstanding what you said, but did she say that Ribaab was dead?
Yeah.
She said
that's what
that.
we-
She said
find
that if I'm the one meeting you, then he's dead. But she said it like in a rush, like, oh, whatever, who cares?
Okay. Could Muninn ask, Cassius and say like, do you know if Ribaab is alive?
I know. But I think I'm not particularly convinced that saving his life is of importance. In fact, I think he's more of a risk to us.
But
Cassius said, I think, so he's not like enforcing that ruling upon you, if that makes sense.
okay.
You
That makes sense.
feel free to argue with him if you'd like.
Okay.
Miroslav would look at Muninn and like half expecting an answer, since he does see that their eyes are glowing again. Like,
Oh,
should I follow this woman or not? Like,
I guess that is a good question.
I don't have all day. I have a tavern to go back to. She grumbles.
Yeah.
he
But what-
would
do
for
you
now
know-
ride after her, but he would be on like alert. But since it is in a village, he's like, okay.
If you are on alert, so to say, may I get a careful from you?
Yes, of course. It is a 4.
You will notice something when it happens. I will let you know ahead of time, so to say. Okay?
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh shit.
Yeah. I feel like Muninn would ask Cassius, like, he's been Ribaab has been a good sort of asset to us before. If it's not too late,
Are you so blind that you have not noticed how he has conspired against you from behind the scenes?
But if that was, regardless if that's true, how could
With that one indicating Anghel.
Anghel wouldn't conspire against me.
You hear a heavy sigh.
I feel like Muninn would say, if it's not too late to save Ribaab, then I feel like we owe it to him to do that.
You do not owe it anything to him. What do you mean you owe it to him?
Well, he's like I said, he's been there like as a strong warrior for us and like a strong asset to us.
So he's also a threat. I'm not convinced, child. Above board, I'm sort of like reclining back in my chair, and I'm imagining that Cassius is kind of doing the same thing. Sort of.
Cool. Well, we would say like, look, he's struggling to like think of what to say above board, but I'm gonna say like he's if one of he's been traveling us for a while, and I feel like if one of us were to be in danger, he wouldn't hesitate to help us.
So?
Would you disagree, Show&Tell?
I'm not sure about that.
Show&Tell is not in the discussion right now,
I guess.
and neither is Anghel.
Yeah.
True.
It's
I'm
all
just
in your head.
Yeah. Well,
Miroslav is, however, like he's every few seconds he's like shooting you a glance.
yeah. I guess I guess in an attempt to wrap this up, like Muninn would say, well, even if you don't tell me, Cassius, even if you don't tell me so that I can go save him, or so we can save him, at the very least, could you tell me like why he could be dying and what relation?
He's currently buried in a shallow grave, heavily wounded.
And what relationship would he have to this woman? What, like, can we trust her?
Yes, you may trust her. She's a local innkeeper above board. I forgot to mention that yes, Miroslav would recognize her as a local innkeeper. I forgot to mention that. My bad.
Okay. No, then, like he's still very much like sus, but then that's good to know.
Okay.
Cassius would continue. Your companion would went and secured lodgings and told this woman to wait for your group, and told her if I'm not back to greet them in your place, then it means I'm dead. And he went to take care of some business.
Business that you can tell me of which?
I can. Should I?
You are the patron of knowledge, and to know is to...
Do not confuse knowledge with information.
Well, this information could potentially prevent death of like one of us to suffer the same fate, could it not? Like, knowing is to prevent the same kind of demise. I don't know if you can hear us, Teeironor, but...
Oh, I can hear you. It's both me and the Cassius pondering.
Oh, okay.
Or I can just warn you of the specific circumstances, I suppose.
I suppose that would suffice.
Well, I will say that Ribaab was wounded by a common enemy, so to say. But if you were to go and rescue him, well, let's just say that there will be some massive political implications if you find him while he's alive, compared to if you find him while he's dead.
Okay.
He was... I will say that the person who wounded him is trying to frame someone else. So obviously if you go and find the corpse of your friend, he won't be able to tell you who actually wounded him, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And the person that's being framed, it's not one of us?
No.
Okay. Well,
I do not care particularly much for the politics of this nation. They're all worshippers of the anathema at this point. I can count the number of my allies on one hand, and I will still have the majority of my fingers left. And I can see both outcomes benefiting or being to the disadvantage of our allies. So I'm unconvinced if you should involve yourself in this one, child.
Well, as curious as I am to see not Cassius. As curious as I am to seek out Ribaab, I don't want to end up like a cat. So in that same, feel like that sounded better in my head. I don't want to let I don't want to let curiosity get the better of me. So, I guess for now he's gonna have to suffer his fate.
Ooh. Okay.
And then Muninn would, obviously, as long as the Cassius doesn't have anything else to say, so to speak, Muninn would look to the other two and say, like, it's okay, we can trust her. Like, sort of unapologetically out loud. Like, it's okay, we can trust her. Ribaab it's true, he's dead. Or at least he's dying.
Do not lie, child.
You said he was in a shallow grave, didn't you?
Wounded in a shallow grave.
Oh, so he's dying?
Yeah, dying would be the better term, not dead.
Oh, okay.
But above board, Acacius is very, very against lying and will not tolerate you lying. You may omit information, but you may not lie.
Okay. Well, yeah, Muninn would say, like, oh, I guess Muninn in that case would be more specific, and they would say, he's not dead, but he is wounded, and he is in a shallow grave, so it's probably not. He probably doesn't have a lot of time left.
Shouldn't we do something?
Muninn would.
He's not dead yet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's leave that decision up to the lady, as he's her bodyguard, I think.
Yep.
Was
Above board, yeah.
Yeah, and when Muninn said that we can trust a woman, Miroslav would just nod and then, focus on driving behind her.
Okay.
Following her.
Just before, if it's not too late, I feel like just before Miroslav rides away, I feel like Muninn would climb down.
We are moving the whole time already.
Are we? Oh. Okay.
We are following her. I was just looking over at you, is this the right decision?
Right. And then as soon as that makes sense. Okay, well, Muninn would climb down and sort of speak to Anghel and say they would ask do you think that we should try and save Ribaab or try and find him?
Yeah, of course.
Prince Charming agrees above board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What makes you want to save his life?
He's a human being. What do you mean? And he's helped us. What's so funny?
Your friend Anghel is very quaint, says Acacius.
Quaint?
Wait.
Odd above board.
Yeah. Muninn would shrug and say I guess he has helped us in the past, but at the same time
he's helped Illona. Does Anghel know that? I don't know. I'm sure he did.
What did he do to help Illona? I think not above board.
Ribaab did not.
Yeah, we don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you don't even know if there's he helped Illona. Rather, he was somehow involved with Illona without Illona knowing.
Oh, what does that mean?
Good question.
Okay.
Is that Illona knowing?
And a bubble without Ashen knowing too.
What? That's really interesting.
Don't worry, I'm not rewriting her backstory. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm confused. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Okay.
I have no clue what we could be talking about. But Muninn would say to Anghel yeah, he's helped us in the past, but at the same time, has he only helped us because we're associated with Ophelia in some way? He could have just as easily ignored us.
But he didn't. If you're not going to help, then at least can you tell me where he is?
That would be the same as helping. Munin's eyes glow white, so Bobo, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Muninn would repeat that. They would say, well, if I told you and you went to help him, then that would be the same as me helping him in some way.
But you wouldn't have to do anything.
But then, what would we do if? But then, would you be so willing to risk leaving this sort of mission? Like, we've started to make progress towards the road. Started to make progress on the road towards the prince and Nikephoros. Like, are you sure you'd want to like waste more time? This
Good
isn't
question.
this isn't Dely asking this, by the way. This is just Muninn,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
probably
makes
not
sense.
even
Okay,
Muninn.
Cassius would chime in and say, if we decide, like including himself in this conversation, if we decide on helping your little friend, I don't believe it will detract much from your attempt to track down Nikephoros. Arguably, it might help, but there are implications that, let's just say, are beyond you at the moment, my dear Oracle.
But we would ask the thing is, if we do help, I mean, Ribaab is a bodyguard of Ophelia, so I feel like if we did help him, Ophelia would be would recognize the sort of efforts that we put in.
Probably.
Uh,
It
and-
would also be to the detriment of my other ally.
And who would that be?
Good question.
As your oracle,
Though you should probably know it already, child. Don't you remember all the burned bandits on the road? Do you think that was any other god's magic other than mine?
Huh.
I'm
So
confused. What?
Yeah. So Cassius has another. He said he's got another.
Yeah, we've established this.
Yeah.
The burning bandits? What?
Yeah, twice now you've discovered groups of bandits who were burned to death on the road.
Yeah. But then, like you mentioned, but then Cassius mentioned, like, oh, I've got another ally.
Hmm?
Muninn would ask again, who?
They care for us, of course. We've established this, child.
Okay, I feel like we must have.
But we've established this even before you became the Oracle.
So Nick.
So what?
Oh no! Wait. So you just said Nikephoros, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay. So I have a very small brain. So Cassius is considering him as an ally. You said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he doesn't want us to return the.
Well, he hasn't stopped you so far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess Muninn would say, as well, we're trying to sort of catch up to Nikephoros and reclaim the orb. Like, would you not consider me a more valuable asset than Nikephoros? Even if, like, especially considering we're gonna sort of take the orb from him anyway.
Perhaps, but I would rather you keep both. Well, not both. Keep all three.
3.
Who's the third?
This is-
Dely knows, but they're not allowed to tell.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I feel like Muninn would sigh and say, like, well, I have a proposition.
Find
for
a
you.
way to keep all free.
How about
He
instead
says
of
kind of dismissively. Go ahead.
okay, in one last bid, Muninn would say, like, okay, well, if it's 3 you want, I have a third for you. That would be a much fitting, a more fitting replacement than Nikephoros. He was the one that you told me to speak to in the first place. If I can convert him to see your ways, would you abandon Nikephoros?
Above board, I'm not 100% sure whom you're referring to.
I don't know if I should.
DM me.
Message.
DM me.
Okay.
Oh, I guess Cassius did say that. Cassius will say, well, you can't really provide guarantees about that child, though I would insist that you expedite your efforts. But I suppose there's a time limit on Ribaab's life, so to say.
So the sooner we find him, the better, then.
Very well, child. I will give you the information, but do not act on it yet until you've spoken with Lady Ophelia. All right?
Okay. You have my word.
The information above board is that the town of Horsemen technically has 3 owners in total. One is a noble named Mihalake, who usually resides in this town right here that I'm pinging on the map. Do you see where I'm pinging?
Yes.
The other owner is a guy named Andronikos Palas, who you may have met. Do you remember the lady whose breath smelled of blood? And
yes.
And who was basically Ophelia's political rival and and the whole messenger debacle. Yeah, that's him. That's owner number 2. And owner number 3 is a fellow named Zamfir, who is a close associate of the Zarhos family. And Cassius will tell you that Ribaab is currently buried in Andronikos Palas's estate, aka Ophelia's rival. But again, you know that Andronikos Palas is not the one who wounded him. He is being framed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
But also, you're also very, very aware that Andronikos is a big rival of the Zarhos family.
Okay.
So lots of political implications.
So a Zarhos could have been the one that is framing Andronikos. You said, didn't you?
Yep.
Andronikos.
I say yes as in yes, that's a possibility, not yes as in yeah, that's what happened.
Okay. That makes sense.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, I'll put these 3 noble persons tokens on screen for like where their estates are usually. But carry on.
Okay. Muninn would say to Anghel finally, I know where he is. But if you're convinced that we should try and save him, be warned that we can't be caught trying to save, we can't be caught trying to we can't be caught trying to save him. Like, we can't be seen.
Why not?
His current situation, him being left for dead, is kind of like a political chess chessboard move. And I feel like, so he's been buried as a way to frame someone else, and I feel like if we're caught trying to sort of save him, we may be framed for the exact thing that for killing him in the first place, or worse, planting him there in the first place too, and we'd be framed as the as some kind of weird, twisted, double-crossing saboteurs or something.
Okay, whatever. Let's just save him, and you can worry about the politics or something.
Yeah. Well,
I love how much of a blunt instrument Anghel can be, in a good way, I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Muninn would say, if you're certain you want to risk this, then fair enough. I will gladly help and try and save Ribaab.
Okay, I'm glad you changed your mind.
Well, above board, Muninn, you were told, decide after you talk with Ophelia.
Oh, of course. That makes sense.
And you also told not to lie.
That's true. Muninn would correct themselves and say, like, well, I've been told we have to tell Ophelia first, and that makes sense, considering Ophelia is Ribaab's employer, so I feel like she should know.
Do you think she would care?
Part of me expects her not to. But I feel like there must be some level of loyalty for her. If not an emotional sort of loyalty, but at the very least some kind of like sunk costs investment. You know, she's I feel like she's probably spent a lot of time with Ribaab.
Okay, let's hope so.
If you want, Miroslav, like your above board perspective, Ribaab is like relatively a new employee of Ophelia, but he was a long-time employee of Ophelia's cousin who was in the same city as Ophelia, so you two would like know each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Miroslav himself would also like to like help Ribaab, but also he is like, it is up to Lady Ophelia, since he doesn't know everything, and if Lady Ophelia says no, don't go save him, there will be a reason. He doesn't need the reason, he only needs to know if there is a reason or not.
Okay.
Also above board, since this conversation, I imagine, took a little bit of in-game time, the estate where Ribaab is supposedly buried, again framing the person who actually owns the estate, is this one, where I'm pinging on the map. You are not being taken in that direction by the innkeeper lady. Instead, you are being taken sort of in like this direction, indicating that the lodgings you bought are in this little village, like vis-a-vis of the town across the river.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair enough. We can still get there. I imagine.
Hopefully.
And Miroslav, this is where the careful that you rolled in comes in, as above board, this village is not on top of a hill, but like up a slope, so to say. So from your viewpoint, you guys would see this village. And you're the first one who notices, are those military banners heading towards that village? Like a lot of them?
Shit.
Miroslav
Which village?
would-
The one where Ribaab is
This
supposed to
one.
be?
This
Oh,
one.
this one. Oh.
Miroslav would definitely like take note of that, and if Anghel and Muninn are not talking right. No, I think he would like talk to them after they arrive, not while he's still driving.
Okay.
Right now he would just take note of it.
It does not appear. Well, it does not appear that anyone else has noticed in the sense of the NPCs. Well, because some of them are inside the carriage, so obviously they can't notice. And the innkeeper is just focused on getting you to the inn so that, she can get back to business.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, what does it mean? Does it mean that they're preparing for something, or just that there's a lot of soldiers there?
There's a lot of soldiers heading there. That's what it means.
From like
From the main
The
road to the
north?
village.
so from the north or from
Yep.
the
From north. Okay.
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 And if Miroslav does not sound the proverbial warning, as you guys continue on the road, and the banners reach the village itself, you will hear a very, very loud military horn being sounded, almost yes, as if someone were giving a proclamation or something.
Oh shit.
You are obviously too far away to hear anything, but you do see the banners stopping as if the soldiers have reached something. And
Yeah.
the innkeeper would notice and would sort of stare in alarm.
Miroslav would ask the innkeeper whether or why the military.
Shit, they must have found my cousin. You know he's smuggling wine. Shit. Above board, hundreds of soldiers would not show up for a wine smuggler.
Yeah,
I didn't think so.
I think Miroslav would think the same, but also he would take note of the innkeeper's cousin smuggling wine. Just so okay, that's an interesting bit of information you gave me. He's not saying that; it's just his thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything still happening on the way to the inn?
You haven't reached the town where
Okay.
the village where the inn is in. But if you were to look, because you're fairly close by, you will see that a lot of the residents have also come out of their homes or have stopped in their tracks to say, what the hell is going on?
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Feel
Should we-
free, if you want, to give me this applies to all of you, a careful, if you want to determine the sort of nationality, for lack of a better term, of the horn, as in, is it Rima soldiers, is it Camel soldiers, etc., if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
I do too.
Okay.
Anghel.
Anghel knows definitely, but fortunately it does not awaken Angel's trauma, because Anghel, what happened to you was because of Caramel soldiers. These are Rima soldiers, so local soldiers.
Okay.
That does not necessarily mean it's a good thing. They'll rob and kill the local villagers as foreign armies would as well, but hey.
Yeah.
Muna would look to Anghel and Miroslav if he's about and say need we get involved?
I hope not.
The fairies pop up from behind Anghel and say, that's where the horse's ring is.
Okay, shit. Now we have to get involved.
Well, one of you has. has to.
What?
Well, one of you has to.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, is Anghel like the fact that it's a compel? Is Anghel like feeling compelled, or is it just?
You don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't have to run off in that direction if that's what you're asking. It's above board compel. Compels happen above board, so it's something that Anghel will have to do. As for why he feels he has to do it, I don't remember. Oh, I think it was the Prince Charming aspect that we compelled to get this thing to happen. So I think it's the Prince Charming instinct that's motivating him to go and get the horse's ring. That said, Prince Charming would agree that saving Ribaab is probably more urgent. But the horse's ring is something you should get to, if that makes sense.
Okay. So Anghel says I think we should check it out. But first let's find Ribaab. Let's help him.
Okay. Let's hope whatever was happening over there is doesn't escalate by the time we get there.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Well, Muninn would look to the carriage as if to see what's Ophelia doing.
I above board wanted to do this, but I didn't find a proper time to chime in. But
Okay.
yes, she would poke her head out of the carriage and stare in concern, but say nothing.
Would Miroslav notice her sticking her head out?
Give me a careful, I guess, but it will not be a difficult roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then he would kind of give her a little summary about Ribaab and that there's soldiers in the village, but
I can see the soldiers as well. What do you mean Ribaab's dead?
well, the innkeeper that came to get us said that he went to take care of something and that he told her. I don't know more than that. But he told her that he has to do something, go somewhere, and that if he doesn't come back, he is dead, and she should come get us. And yeah, she was the one that came to get us.
Well, have you asked her where he went? Her meaning the innkeeper.
I did not know if it was my place to ask.
I'm surprised the more inquisitive ones haven't asked. Referring to Muninn and Anghel.
Oh, we already know.
Yeah, I know above board you already know, but you know.
Would Anghel say we already know? Or
I don't know, would he? I guess so. I guess. Why not?
What do you mean you already know?
I don't know though.
Well, if you say that.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Why not?
yeah.
What do you mean you already know? It's your own business for you. The collective you, she means.
Yeah. Muninn would shake their head as a look. No, we don't know exactly why, or what he was doing, but we at least know what he's doing, where he is now, and we know why he's been placed there. So, Muninn would point in this direction and say, Ribaab has been left for dead, and he's been left there to frame the person that lives there, as if to say, Muninn would nod
How do you...
and say, sorry.
Well, she seem... The more you explain, the more she's confused because obviously you're skipping a few steps.
Oh, really? Well, I apologize if I am. Muninn would say, Ribaab has been buried and left for dead in Andronekos' estate. I don't suppose you'd know anything about that? In like a
About
accusing
Andronikos,
kind
of
way.
course I know him, but I don't know... Alright. What, how do you know this?
Muninn would like tap their head to be like, I've been told. You know, like
Of course you
kinda like-
have.
yeah.
Well, why aren't you going to rescue him? I'll pay
I
you.
was-
I'll pay you, of course.
We can discuss payment, but to answer your question, I was told to inform you first, for whatever reason, before we set out to save him.
My family and the Palas family have already reasons aplenty to feud, so it's understandable why the killer would scapegoat and would try to present them as a scapegoat. But who is the killer then? She's like asking this with the implication that obviously you know that, don't you?
Right.
Odysseus would chime in and say, try to appear as if you know, but do not tell her.
Yeah.
Because obviously Odysseus wants you to seem all wise and all knowing and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So Muninn would like double bluff and say, I was thinking about doing this anyway, but Muninn would double bluff and say like, well, sorry if I get the pronunciation wrong. Do you say Palassos?
Palas.
Palas. Okay. So Muninn would say the Palas family is a rival of the Zahos family, so I don't know. I thought maybe you might have known.
Do you realize how stupid that sounds?
Well, if they were framed for a murder, then surely that would be beneficial to whoever is a rival to the family.
Why the Frieder? I can't count on all my fingers how many people I've annoyed in the past month.
I see. Well, I don't know how else to double bluff. Moon would say,
She would interrupt you and say, Miroslav, after you... I don't want to say park, because that's a bit too modern of a term, but I'll use it anyway. Park the carriage. Would you be so kind as to assist these in finding Ribaab, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
well, Anghel,
Yes.
I guess we should get ready to make our way. And Muninn would like stow their like personal journal. I feel like they'd be holding it still, so they'd stow their personal journal and like take their satchel off their shoulders to be ready to like, because we're going to stay somewhere anyway, right? So they take their satchel off to be like, I'm gonna drop my stuff off, and then we can go.
Okay, Anghel is like crossing his arms.
Yeah. So as you cross the little rivulet that leads into the next village over, the innkeeper would hastily lead you to her inn, but before showing you the rooms, she would just indicate where the stables are, and then she would rush in the direction of the village where the soldiers are, and mumbling something about, not about rescuing her cousin, but rather rescuing his stash.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I was like, wanting to see him burn. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Miroslav would. Does the inn like have a stable for the horses?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ribaab found, like, deliberately looked for one that would have them.
So, yeah, Miroslav would like park the carriage and then bring the horses into the stable, like make sure they are also taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
and then, uh, check back in with Lady Ophelia, as like, should they go now?
Ophelia would give you a nod and say, "We, we'll be here." She's unsure of if to head into rooms or stay with the carriage, because technically they weren't given rooms yet, even though they should have been.
Oh yeah, true.
She would mumble something about, well, Ribaab paid for them, but what are the rooms? Grumble. We'll be here.
Yeah. Makes sense. Could I go?
Before you go, Ophelia says to Miroslav, she hands Miroslav another bag of money, not a lot, but still, says, "Could you do me a favor and while you're in town, buy me some honey, please?"
Yes, of course.
Honey.
Thank you.
Okay.
With the implication that above board you may keep the change,
Yeah.
which is not a small amount, I would say.
Okay.
Honey.
Mm.
And with that, Miroslav would like turn to Muninn and Anghel and be like, then let's be on our way.
Above board, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna agree with Miroslav.
I'll just use Ophelia's token to represent where she is on the map, more or less. You guys feel free to click and drag yourselves around. That said, the soldiers are still visible in the nearby village. Not the soldiers themselves, but rather their banners, because the village is on a bit of elevated ground. That said, the little town that you are in, it's very visibly a market town, and people are sort of cautiously resuming their daily happenings, so to say, their work. And as you guys reunite, you will hear I'm hesitating because I don't know the word in English. I apologize, but basically the sounds that a pig makes.
Oh, a squeal.
Oink.
Oink, squeal,
Or
etc.
yeah.
But well, not the oinks or the squeals, but rather the
The nuff, nuff, nuff.
The nuff. Yes, thank you very much, Milo.
Oh,
What?
I see. What
I
you're
did
saying.
not.
Like a grunt almost.
Yeah.
Grunting.
But
so
it seems weirdly deliberate, this grunting, as in almost as if the pig is speaking.
What?
Oh, wait. Did we hear about a pig who was looking for a bride? I don't know.
Yep, you did. You did.
I'm so surprised that you remembered that.
In the market. Deli?
Sorry, I don't know if because of the lag, I don't know if that was lag or something. Did I interrupt you?
Nope, I just added in the market.
Oh, I see. Could we start looking for this pig?
What a read?
Your microphone bugged out for a bit, show and tell, but it wasn't mid exclamation. Could you please repeat that?
I was asking what about Ribaab.
I want to see the pig. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like there'd be
You'll
some.
go for the pig. I'll go for Reap.
Yeah.
We'll meet later. I don't know, but like.
Maybe maybe Muninn would hesitate to go looking for a pig. Right now, but
If Muninn like says something about the pig, Miroslav would be like, I have to go to the market afterwards anyway to get the honey. You can look for the pig then.
Above board, Ophelia would not have said the honey bit in earshot of Anghel and Muninn. That doesn't mean she told Miroslav, "Hey, don't talk about that." It just means that they're not aware.
Then Miroslav would just say that he needs to go to the market afterwards anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Muninn would nod and say like, okay, well, yeah, let's go see this pig when we have a little bit more free time, I guess.
Yeah, let's.
Right. Let's go save. I mean, Muninn would sort of, if we were in the inn or near the inn.
Near. Like in the courtyard, so to say.
Okay. So Muninn would go and so Muninn would say like, let me store this some. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say
you have not been assigned rooms yet. I know.
Yeah, and also I don't know if Muninn would. It's a bit out of character for Muninn to. So Muninn wouldn't do anything. Muninn would just say,
if you trust Ophelia, there's the carriage, but big if.
No, Muninn won't. Muninn would tighten the straps on their satchel so that it doesn't move about as much, and say like, okay, let's try and go and save Ribaab if everyone's ready.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Anghel, you feel something tickle your hair as the fairies try to place a crown of flowers upon your head. And you're reminded, oh yeah, I have a couple of fairies following me. That'll look weird.
Why don't you wait here?
But we're your heralds, my prince.
Yes, you work on your heralding. Here.
Be careful what you ask for, Show&Tell.
Okay. Don't do that.
They look like happy, then you say don't do that, so they now look confused.
Oh my god.
Do
Maybe you should find some flowers.
You want another crown?
Sure. Just wait here, okay?
Okay. Will you be fine when you get the ring, my prince? Or are we going together for the ring?
To get what?
The ring.
The ring.
Oh, together, they said?
Yeah.
We'll see. But not right now, so, you know.
All right. They look hesitant and mildly confused. We've been working on your song. Shall we, sing it to the others, to the people? Announce your arrival?
No, not right now. Right now, we need to be stealthy.
Yeah.
This goes against their nature. So they're looking at each other like they look visibly agitated. Because on the one hand, they want to obey you, but on the other hand, it goes against their nature to do what you're asking them.
Try really hard, okay?
They nod hesitatingly, and above board, I'm going to roll a dice to see how much they succeed in trying very hard, I guess.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I guess I'll roll a d20, and the higher the number, the better for your desired outcome, Show&Tell, okay?
Oh my goodness. Okay. No. No.
Oh no.
They tried. They tried.
Not hard enough.
Kind of fate point.
Not hard enough
quickly.
at all.
For an entire half a second, yeah?
They
I love-
just wait until Anghel is like 10 steps away and start singing.
Pretty much.
No.
They're so ADHD coded.
Oh god.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. Show&Tell, feel free to give me, because they'll cave in pretty quick. So feel free to give me a careful from Anghel to see if Anghel notices that they cave in real quick, because I'm assuming that Angel's walking away.
Okay, careful.
Yes. Yeah, apparently you do notice. As you walk away, as Milo said, 10 feet or so, and then you hear, "Oh, Anghel, Prince Anghel," in like a hesitant voice that slowly gains in crescendo, so to say.
Oh my god, these fairies will kill me.
Fantastic.
It'll be a death of me. Literally. Okay. I don't know, what do we do with that? Anghel turns to him and it like with the, kind of smile of like, oops.
We can't bring them with us.
Can't you ask them to keep an eye on what is happening with the soldiers?
That's clever, above board.
That is quite cool.
Okay.
They if something happens, they would be the quickest to be able to tell us.
Right.
All right.
That's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, they'd make pretty good scouts.
Anghel thanks Miroslav, and then he turns to the fairies and
They stop singing and
Amazing.
start like whistling, like, "No, we didn't do anything."
whatever. Anghel tells them, to keep an eye on the soldiers. It's a very important mission. Don't mess it up.
Oh, at once, my prince, and they both start flying, beelining for that, singing all the while. Which will
Okay, well.
cut a path through the village, but hey, it minimizes the damage, so to say.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah, you see the fairies zooming through the market, obviously startling a lot of people. Shouts are heard, and all the while you hear, "Oh, Anghel, Prince Anghel," and as they go to fulfill their mission.
Oh my god. Okay, at least we got rid of them. Thank you, Miroslav.
Well, it seemed like a fitting way they could help.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well then, Muninn, as I am guessing, we're told where we should find Ribaab and lead the way.
Okay.
I just heard bits and pieces when you were talking to Anghel.
Yeah. You would be right. Muninn would nod to
How
Miroslav.
exactly were we talking though? Like was Muninn talking out loud?
I mean, Muninn was probably talking out loud to you, and you were probably gesturing back.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, so Miroslav maybe had either half a conversation or maybe
just words, not the whole conversation, but need to go help and
yeah.
just parts of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, either way, Muninn would say, all right, yeah, let's go. But like I said, we can't be discovered. The last thing I'd want is to. The last thing we need right now is to be framed for murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to be caught and framed as framing a murder.
Okay.
That would be complicated.
Miroslav just nods like slowly. It's like, okay.
So, as you guys, I'm assuming I'll use actually I'll just draw on screen. I think that's easiest. I'm assuming the route you guys will be taking will be this one. What I just drew on screen.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, as you guys leave the little market village and make your way to cross the bridge, you will see people gathering to check out what the hell is going on with the soldiers on the hill. You hear frightened whispers, but not much that you can really make out. And as you continue walking, can I get a careful to see if you notice something, I guess, unusual, rather someone unusual?
With my good eyes.
It would involve your good eyes, yes. Okay, Muninn definitely notices. Anghel does as well, although a little later. As actually, I'll tell Muninn. Well, both of you notice, but I'll tell Muninn an extra bit of information if that makes sense.
Okay.
As you see a fellow heading in the opposite direction from you guys, and Muninn realizes, oh, so that's who the innkeeper meant by Abdul.
Oh.
What?
Wait, what?
As in another dark-skinned person who would be very, very rare.
Oh. I see. So this is the fabled Abdul.
Mm-hmm. He is heading
Wait,
in...
I'm still confused. Okay, what?
Go ahead.
There is an Abdul?
Yes. Well, Muninn knows that. Anghel doesn't quite yet. And that's him. He is heading in the opposite direction from you guys, as in heading towards the little market village. And Muninn, I can tell you this, he seems very, very distraught. But he doesn't pay particular attention to the lot of you because you guys are not that unusual looking.
Okay.
Though people do give Muninn a wide berth because of the smell, but that's a different story.
Muninn point to the guy and say like, "Oh, so that must be the Abdul that that lady was talking about." I could have sworn she was talking about Ribaab there.
Yeah,
at
what the
first.
hell?
That's what you meant, by the way, isn't it, Show&Tell, when you said like, "Oh, so there is an Abdul," like that.
Yeah, exactly. I thought we were talking about
I thought that's what she meant too. But anyway,
Above board, I'll tell you this, Deli, Muninn, because of your role. The lady did mean Ribaab, but she can't distinguish Ribaab from Abdul.
oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But
that
we
sucks.
don't know an Abdul, do we?
Nope.
No. Well, so yeah, Muninn would say, "Oh, so I guess that's who she means," and then they would say, "He looks kind of a bit agitated, wouldn't you think?"
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
You don't think it's got anything to do with the individual that we're trying to save?
I'm not sure, since she did like specifically tell us things that I guess only Ribaab would make sense to say. So I'm not thinking that she was talking about this fellow.
Right, but what I mean, yeah, right. But what I mean is, this guy, like pointing to Abdul, like he looks kind of. I mean, he looks distraught. Do you think it's got something to do with Ribaab?
I mean, there were like since they came from the north, I'm guessing the soldiers went through that village as well.
I'll draw on the map again.
Yeah.
The soldiers basically came like this.
Ah, okay. So, oh, yeah. I keep thinking that the gray thing is also a water. I don't know why. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I only saw like from the south and then between the villages. That's why I thought they came from there. But yeah. Then
I'll mention the gray thing is a road, but it's also a dirt road. I'm only making it gray to signify that it's the main road.
yeah. Well, a lot of people seem to be either distraught or interested in what is happening with the soldiers, as he is also walking in that direction. I think.
I'm not
Since
sure.
he's going opposite of us, if we're going over the. Like.
He's heading this way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So towards us,
I think I
right?
do too much. It's roll 20 is fucking up for me.
So he's going to the yeah. So it would like Miroslav would assume that he might just be like it might have to do with the soldiers and not necessarily with Ribaab.
Okay.
If you want, feel free to like give me more careful to like scrutinize this person, and I'll oppose with this person sneaky.
Okay.
You want? Okay, I guess we're
like
doing that.
to. I would like to.
Your stunt will apply, Deli. Not that it matters.
There you go.
Well, I think also Show&Tell, feel free to roll as well, but if you want to, of course. But I would ask, is there any questions that you have for me, or do you want me to just babble?
Does he more look like he is trying to get away from somewhere, or is it looking like he's going like trying to figure out what is going on?
He does not seem interested in the whole soldiers thing. He seems distraught for different reasons. Like he's looking down, like holding his head with his hand, like, oh fuck, something like that.
Okay.
Sauce.
My question is, I would like for you to just babble if you like, but my question, I guess, would be, where does it look like he? I don't. I apologize if this has been answered, but where does it look like he's come from? Is it like sort of in this general direction? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, or?
I mean, yes, but a lot of things are in that general direction. You've only noticed him.
Okay.
You can ask more questions, because that was kind of a non-answer, and I can't tell you really more with these set of circumstances.
Yeah, that makes sense. In that case, I don't really have any specific questions. I am open for a babble, but it's up to you.
Well, the babbling part is sort of a bit of common knowledge in the sense of people like with that skin tone are extremely uncommon in this area, and almost all of them are caramel mercenaries of some kind, like Ribaab, who is like an employee of technically a caramel official, aka Lady Ophelia, if that makes sense. This person probably is as well, or they could be a veteran. They are dressed in a similar manner to Ribaab and Hakim, indicating that they probably are also like a bodyguard or something like that, or a former soldier, and they do look armed.
Okay.
Show&Tell, how are you with time?
I need to leave soon.
Sure. Then
Well, we have 10 more minutes.
Sure. We'll carry on, and I'll wrap up soonish. Okay.
Okay. So, I don't know if I'm not really sure of anything, but I feel like Muninn is tempted to just go up and ask him what's wrong, like, but I don't know. Does could I ask, like, or could I roll or do something, like, would does he look like, if we approached him and asked him, like, hey, what's going on? Does he look like he'd be alarmed by that? Is that a weird thing? Is that a weird thing to do? I mean, it seems weird to me.
Give me a clever, I guess.
Okay. There we are. Oh,
Okay.
what?
Well, above board, since he is unusual looking and this is kind of a racist world, if someone approaches him, his first instinct is, oh shit, they're gonna fuck with me, aren't they? But on the other hand, that might not be his first instinct. His first instinct may be, what the hell is that smell?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
As to whether that would, like, distract someone from feeling distraught, and this guy seems like positively, like, oh, something very bad just happened. That's his attitude. So he might be distracted. It is a risk that it will, like, make him panic, but emphasis on risk does not mean that will actually happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Muninn's curious, so they would approach this guy and just be like, oh, what was the name that you said earlier? I can't
Abdul,
remember.
for the fellow.
Muninn would approach and say, like, Abdul, I assume.
He reaches back, like, covers his nose, reaches for his pistol, covers his nose, is unsure what's the first thing he had to do. And I think he'd, like, slam into probably the wall of a building as he, like, looks around like, shit, what's going on?
Yeah. It's okay. Don't be. Muninn would, like, it's okay. Don't be alarmed. It's,
Now he reaches for his pistol and points it at you. His hand is shaking, and you're not sure if the pistol is actually loaded.
Muninn wouldn't be worried about the pistol. I feel like Muninn would say they would hold their hands up in a way to be like, to show their hands and be like, no, we don't mean you any harm. We're friends of the, come to mention it, she never mentioned her name, but the innkeeper lady.
Give me a flashy, but it would be a difficult roll.
Shit.
Okay. What innkeeper? There's like 5 inns in this town.
She told us that you. Muninn would just point to the inn that they that the innkeeper lady, like, took them to, basically, or took us to, or us 3.
He looks startled. Like he is, too much is happening, like, sort of emotional overload, so to say, so he's unable to, like, keep that hidden.
Okay. Look, Muninn would say, never mind that.
Then he gives you a weird look, like sort of like narrows his eyes, like, how do you know?
How do I know?
That he's not saying that. He's like implying that with his gaze.
He's implying like okay. Muninn would just say, "Look, it's okay. I just wanted to know what's wrong."
Tries to press the like what's the word?
Like the
trigger on the pistol, but it clicks. It's not loaded. It will take probably a while to load it. So he drops it and draws his sword, but he's still shaking in fear.
I feel like Muninn's getting a little bit impatient. I feel like that they'd show it on their face, and they'd say like, "Look, we don't have a lot of time."
Neither do I. Fuck off already.
Okay, well, whatever's bothering you, we'd be happy to help.
I don't know you. How do you know me?
Well, we don't really, but we're sort of very. I don't know how to describe it, but we don't really. But we saw that you look like you're in trouble, so we wanna help.
Give me a flashy, I guess.
Oh no. Okay. Oof! Ouch.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
I think you'll try to make a run for it.
Okay.
Damn, can Anghel help somehow?
How?
Can he? Oh shit! Like my only thought is like he tries to stop it, but that would only freak him out more.
Yeah.
He also has a sword.
This is kind of tough. Could Muninn throw? Do you know what? Muninn would try and catch up to him and like run. Yeah, Muninn would try and run in front of him to be like, look, it's like stop running, like we are here to help.
Give me a quick and I'll oppose.
Okay.
He got a 6.
No.
You trip over yourself and he sprints away. He's not like away, but he's getting away, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anghel isn't fast either.
I really want to know what he's fucking scared about.
Muninn, I don't think it's helpful to
scare
get
him.
attention on us right now, and also he looks very easily distinguishable from everyone else here, so we can also ask him later.
I guess Muninn would be frustrated for a sec because they just tripped, but
Miroslav would like offer his hand to help them up.
I apologize if I misspoke, because you didn't like critically fail, so I didn't mean trip and like face plant or fall, but like trip and you have to catch yourself, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Well, still frustrated. I feel like Muninn would be like, fine, whatever. I just like they sort of this annoyed. They would say, you know, you try and help people in that, and you know they don't appreciate it.
And I guess we'll make a getaway.
Yeah, for now, I suppose. Unless he really does. Would he really like leave the whole village?
Well, a getaway from your like viewpoint.
Okay, that's fine.
And perhaps on that little I hesitate to say cliffhanger, but on that point, should we wrap up the session?
Might be
Yeah.
a good point since, well, the interaction is over and we're not yet at the shallow grave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. Thoughts on today's session, and show and tell if you need to go, feel free to go first, and yeah, all that.
Okay, so this was fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not for Ribaab probably, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was really shocking to hear that he was dead, supposedly. And I feel like this, like this kind of mission that we have together is really bonding us in some way,
Hmm?
So that's great.
I agree, and I'm happy for it as well. If there's nothing else like session related, would you like to talk about yourself and what you are doing, show and tell?
Yes, so I'm Show&Tell, and I have a YouTube channel on which I do reactions, and also a Patreon.
Hmm?
You want to check it out?
2 YouTube channels as well, not just one.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, check show and tell out. Links are on screen, but you can also click them easily. Press them. What's the phone terminology? Anyway, in the description. Yeah. Thank you very, very much, show and tell.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week then, unless we have to reschedule or whatever, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, good
See you
night.
later, Show&Tell.
Good
Night, show
night,
and
see
tell.
you.
Bye.
So, Milo and Dely, what are your thoughts for today's session?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I don't know about you, Milo.
It was a lot of fun. Especially hearing the my character didn't hear it, but hearing the discussion between Muninn and Cassius, because it's yeah, it is a human and a god talking, and it's very funny to me.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like I'm always so tempted as a player to just really how do I put it? I really want to oppose Cassius a lot, but I feel like I have to, even if Muninn wasn't an oracle, they would still have to appease him quite to get what they want.
Yeah.
Earlier when I was saying it was fun to kind of beat around the bush when it came to knowing where Ribaab was buried, because it was I was I can't remember what I said, but I was knowing how he died or where he is would prevent us from dying or being attacked in the same kind of way, so surely you should tell me. That's such a roundabout way of getting the info out of Cassius, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I guess this is a small hint-ish, kind of, Dely, but it's also a good idea to consider on the rare occasions when a Cassius is instead not feeding you information, but as in not just refusing you, but also not chiming in, because, I often chime in as a Cassius and sometimes I don't.
Right, so I could consider a Cassius even if you didn't chime in, is that what you mean?
As in, a Cassius has an opinion and or an agenda, even if he doesn't chime in, if that makes sense.
Right. I think I see what you mean.
Also, I'm looking forward to whenever you have to, repay a Cassius.
Yeah.
as a player, I'm looking forward to how that will happen.
Yeah. It's gonna be I feel like it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of wolf death.
Mhm.
I hope anyway. I hope it doesn't get turned around on me and like, I end up dying.
I mean, small idea that Acacius wouldn't mind. Doesn't have to be you who's performing the sacrifices.
Ooh, that is interesting.
I'm just brain farting. I don't have like a plot, story in mind of, oh yeah, there's this NPC who's actually a secret Acacius worshipper that you can get in contact to or whatever. No, that's just, yeah, you think on that.
I mean, Acacius definitely wouldn't mind you getting more people to
Oh yeah.
worship him and
Yeah.
do your offerings.
Yeah, we I was gonna say there was a section on that earlier as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Getting a replacement to giving Acacius a replacement to Nikephoros. I hope that I don't know if you'd agree with me, Teeironor. I hope that becomes clear who Muninn was talking about later. As in, it becomes clear later who Muninn was talking about.
Sure, but it's definitely a case of above board. Yeah, like from Acacius' point of view. Oh yeah, sure, that could happen, so make it happen. As in, he's expecting you to do it.
Yeah. I gotta put in that legwork.
Pretty much. What else should we mention for this session? Baby story wrapped up. As I mentioned, you guys didn't get the best ending, but you got a good ending with the like option of leaving it open in case you ever return, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That is good to know. No, I was gonna say that's good to know.
What's the next thing that happened? Oh, innkeeper lady that I don't even have a token of. Probably should have made a token for her, but I figured she's not super relevant. Smuggler cousin, pig in the market village. You have a room at an inn. Ribaab wounded. Well, I hesitate to ask questions like, oh, what did you guys think of this thing? Because if I ask a question, I feel like I'm putting emphasis on something and like providing an indirect hint that, oh, maybe you should pay more attention to it, if that makes sense. So I hesitate to ask questions. So I would invite you all to share any thoughts you may have, if you have any.
Yeah. There's something that obviously I noticed because I know what's going on with that, and I would like to talk. It's annoying because I'm trying to talk about it, but obviously I can't. I'm like abided not to talk about it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But,
Sure.
so I'm on a NDA with but apart from that, like, I'm excited to see what the pig is all about. I really want to know why. Can't remember his name, but the guy that we just spoke to who was freaking out.
Abdul.
Abdul, thank you. I want to know what's going on with him.
I mean, we might find out next session or
I hope
the
so.
next few. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But also, I would be spooked as well if I was, like, for some reason spooked already and then suddenly a stranger comes up to me and talks to me using my name.
And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
having a very, very off-putting smell as well.
And strong accent as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
again,
true.
Moon. Not to put too much emphasis on it, but Muninn doesn't just stink. Like they smell from a distance. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I can imagine that was really overwhelming for him. So I can understand. It's hard to get used to the fact that Muninn stinks so much.
I feel I'm belaboring the point, but sometimes I feel I'm not putting enough emphasis on Munin's stink, because like people would avoid you if that makes sense, and I have to integrate that without being like annoying about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, you've made your choice, though I don't think you anticipated the smelling portion.
I didn't. Do you know what? I have really gotten used to being restricted by as in Muninn being restricted by Akesius. I've been, in some ways, I've really gotten used to that, but I've not gotten used to smelling so much. But yeah, at the very least, it's kind of funny when people are like, "Oh yeah," they immediately plug their nose, you know,
or step away or whatever.
Yeah. At the very least, it's funny.
Yeah.
But
it's also an unusual smell. Like, you don't smell like a homeless person. You smell of rot and strong wine, which, like, strong wine is not cheap alcohol.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Anyway, again, I hesitate to ask questions. Oh, I guess this is vague enough. Any ideas on the soldiers? I guarantee you will not guess what they're about, but I'm curious.
I'm really curious as to what they're doing. My speculation has got something to do with the fact that they might be going around. So obviously, Ribaab is in a shallow grave outside of the palace house.
Yep.
I have a feeling that these soldiers are going to be the people that find Ribaab's body, in terms of like. That's my theory. The people who find Ribaab and are going to be the ones that take the bait in the framing. I imagine that's going to be the soldiers, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
But
Maybe.
that's my theory.
But also they went in the exact opposite direction of where the murder happened.
Yeah.
Since they came from the left and went down and not up, where they would find it. And also there's the thing that the ring is where the soldiers are. The ring of the horse.
Sorry, my brain imploded, and then I sort of got what you said.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
So I'm not sure if they are actively involved in the framing or murder or something.
Hard to tell.
But they're probably not there for the illegal wine of the innkeeper's cousin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough.
If I were reading or watching this story, I would love it if the plot twist were, oh yeah, they were actually after the contraband all along.
Yeah, I would love that too.
Yeah, it would be funny, but it's not what I expect.
Yeah.
There were lots of banners, and this probably a small-time smuggler. Probably not it.
I mean, we don't know how small-time the smuggler is.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, also it's very for me it's very interesting to play Miroslav, because on one hand I'm like part of the party, but also I'm like yes, I need to get the okay from my employer.
I mean, Munin's in the same boat. And to an
Yeah.
extent, Anghel too, with the Prince Charming thing.
Yeah.
So, you all have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought. I don't know if that's what you intended. I've never thought of Acacius as an employer before, but that kind of makes sense.
Well,
Acacius is my boss.
yeah, Milo used the term employer. I more so mean as in boss, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in my case, it's employer. In your case, it's your boss. In case of Anghel, it's his alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah,
It's very interesting.
I hesitate to say more regarding the session because, again, I don't want to provide indirect clues, so I leave it to the two of you. Is there anything else you guys would like to bring up before we go into our shoutouts?
I don't think so.
I'm excited what the pixies or the fairies will tell us about the soldiers, or will tell Anghel, I guess.
I agree actually. I liked. Was it you, Milo, who said that the fairies would be a good
Yeah.
scout? I thought that was a really good idea. To be honest, I didn't think about that. But
It was my first thought, but I had to wait for a good moment for Miroslav to have that idea. Because I was like, this would be the perfect way to give them a thing to do that would fit also with helping the Prince Charming.
yeah. Yeah.
But also not be with us.
Above board, I was so happy when I rolled the 1 on the d20, and slightly disappointed that Anghel noticed, because I was gonna have like the fairies like organizing a proper chorus for Anghel.
Oh, that would also have been amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe they make the soldiers into. Who knows?
Maybe.
Just give them a catchy tune.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, anything else before shoutout time?
I don't. Not from me.
Okay.
Thing.
Okay.
Not.
Noted. Then thank you, dear viewers, for watching and listening to us. The dice say that we ought to have Milo first and foremost talk about himself and what they're doing. Milo, you're on deck. Can you please go ahead?
I'm Milo. I stream on Twitch and I do art. I also do commissions. And yeah, if I remember, I post my art. But yeah. Streams are very, very comfy. Mostly art streams or like very slow-paced games. And very random when.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do check Milo out, and thank you very, very much. Then, of course, we would have Dely. Could you please go ahead and talk about yourself and what you are doing?
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Dely. I am a mushroom wizard on Twitch.tv. I'm a indie VTuber who streams variety, and when I get the time, which is never, I also have a Discord server, which I feel like is the best way to interact with me and my community. So please do feel free to join that. I love my server. I just wish I had more time to talk in it. And it's full of lovely people, to be honest. And present company included, actually. So if you wanted to, yeah. So yeah, Twitch, Discord. I'm also on Twitter. Everything is on my magic link on the screen anyway. So I'm also making a new. Last thing, I'm also making a new V-Road model.
Nice.
So that'll be done soon, and I have new emotes on the way. Cause,
Oh, soon.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I'm in a very long form rebrand, so that'll arrive soon. I hope. So,
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you very... Yeah, awesome. Thank you very, very much, Deli. And I, dear viewers, was your Dungeon Master, Game Master, Teeironor. I do this series, which is a lot of fun. I also do another series currently on hiatus. Complicated when we return. I'll let you all know when it returns. Don't worry. But yeah, you can check that out on my channel. And yeah, other than that, thank you as usual, dear viewers, for watching and listening to us. Should be back next week, but obviously I'll let you all know on Twitter and Blue Sky if for whatever reason we have to delay an episode. And yeah, I'll see you when I'll see you. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.